This conference will now be recorded.
Well, hello everybody. So I'm Ryan with Smart Detailing, and today we're going to talk about merchandising your website. I think the webinar invite would have shared that the samples I'm going to use and some of the tactics that I'm going to discuss are going to involve using the Smart Detailing web platform. That's what I know best, and so many of you likely use the platform, but the concepts apply for any web platform that you have, and I'll have a couple of kind of mainstream retailer examples as well, and obviously they use the same techniques on a different platform. But we'll get started. So really, first, merchandising. I think everybody knows what that means in store. So, here's some examples of what in-store merchandising looks like, and of course, these are kind of over the top examples from like the REI flagship store and things like that. But the whole idea is, customer walks through the front door and they're just, they're presented with this wonderful display of merchandise, and as opposed to those items just being on a hook or on a rack somewhere, where the customer has to know what they're looking for, find the right section of the store, and then go explore on their own. With in-store merchandising, you help the customer by shortening their journey and saying, hey, here's this really cool stuff I want you to look at, and here's how those items are grouped together. The same concept applies to the web, and I'll use REI again as an example. And so you can see that, on the left, this is how they merchandise their website. In this example, they used 3 different trails and put together an assortment of gear that was appropriate for those trails. And then, in store, same thing, the bundling of items. But the whole concept is whether a customer is walking through your physical front door or your virtual front door, how do you give them something interesting to look at that gets them browsing your inventory? And so I ended the last webinar with this fact, which is 84% of Americans are shopping for something in any given 48-hour period. This is really important because I think we tend to think, well, people don't buy bike stuff that often, but they're shopping for something all the time, and it's become really more of a hobby than just a utility. And what you want to do is make it so that when somebody thinks, bike stuff, that they know your website is a great place to go, and then when they go, that you help them discover things. And so the important thing to know about shopping is that shopping really has 2 parts to it. It's browsing and buying. So again, pull that back to the in-store experience. This is the equivalent of, customer walks through the door and they walk around the store. They don't really want a salesperson to help them out. They may have come in looking for one thing, a tube, a can of lube, but they're gonna look and see what new apparel you have in stock, or check out the new smart trainer that's on display. That browsing process, they're not going to buy everything that they're interested in, but they're discovering it. And then ideally, your great merchandising, your great selection, your great pricing, your great staff is going to help get that customer walking up to the register with a handful of items. That's all we're trying to do on your website, is the exact same thing, is move it from being a pure utility where somebody just comes to it, finds the exact thing that they want, and then leave, and instead get them engaging with your selection a little more actively. And so we like to think about merchandising online as putting your product to work. So you put so much thought into what brands to carry, what particular models from the brands you carry to stock, what your good, better, best plan is, and you pay for that inventory and you put it in your store. But if you don't tell the story of what you have, then that inventory is just it's an expense. It's something that is waiting for somebody to walk through your door to discover it. But if you put it online, then it becomes a marketing tool, and that's the whole goal here: is how do we raise awareness of all the awesome stuff that you have? And so that's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to look at it just in 3 basic pieces. So, what's your business needs? Why is this important to you? Why is it important to the customer? And then we're going to jump into how to, and we're going to leave some time for questions at the end. And ideally, attendees will ask more questions. Brandy really bore the burden last time of asking on your behalf. And then when we're done with questions, I just have a couple of quick ideas for the fall so that you can take some of the things you learn and apply them on your website right away. So first, the business needs. Like, why is this important? So first, it's increasing your customer lifetime value. So you don't just want to be there for your customers, when they specifically know that they need something. If you're just that utility destination for them, then a lot of the peripheral purchases, the impulse purchases, they might happen somewhere else. So you see it all the time where somebody bought a bike from you or they're a really good customer, but they come into your store and they're wearing a new helmet and you don't know where they got it. What could you have done to help that customer realize that you're a resource for every single thing that they need? And your website can really play an important role in that it's so much easier for a customer to pull up your website on their phone and see what the latest thing is, or do you have the thing that they're looking for? And if you become that destination, then you're likely to increase your share of that customer spending. Also think about it in terms of where are you going to link people when you send your email or your social media blasts. By getting your customers engaging their imagination with your business and the things that you sell, you can get more of their annual purchasing on bikes. Improving seasonal sell-through and margin. So I oftentimes sound like a broken record, so I apologize, but one of the best marketers that I work with, what I believe is his greatest strength is he knows how to market the buy. So when his buyers have committed to a product, he knows before that product is shipped, what's the hook he's going to use? How is he going to market it? How is he going to make sure that as soon as it hits his sales floor, he's got people lined up and ready to buy it? And that product velocity is just so important. You contrast that with what we see, with a lot of bike shops is like fall apparel, for example. It'll arrive, it'll sit in the box that's in the back room for a little while, and then it'll slowly get out on display as the summer apparel goes onto a sale rack. And then maybe somebody a couple of weeks later realizes that they should send an email to try and drive traffic for it. Well, if you really tighten that loop up and you have a plan for your inventory, you can improve sell-through, and your website can do that by pulling people from your homepage into the categories that you want to sell, just all that organic traffic that's already coming to your site. People that just want to know your hours, even if they see that, oh, there's this cool new stuff, I want to check it out. And then the same goes for margin. Fall apparel is a great example. The longer that sits, the more likely it is you're going to have to discount it to sell it. So if you can sell it faster, you're able to improve your margin over time, and that's one of the things you want your website to do for you. More effective product launches is key. So you've seen this in your businesses. I think the electronics and phone industry has really driven the importance of product launches, and you see it with bike manufacturers now, like how effectively can SRAM launch their new group, Cannondale their new gravel bike, Trek their new Domane. Each of those things creates customer excitement and motivates that customer to upgrade their bike or get new gear. Well, you don't want to be sitting in the sidelines for that. You don't want to let the manufacturers drive all that excitement and interest, but have, when a customer comes to your website, not have any of that same excitement. And so merchandising new product on your homepage is a great way to help to capitalize on that demand creation that happens with brands and get customers thinking about what role you can play in helping connect them with the product. And then lastly, this also relates to our last session, which is influencing positive website metrics. So what you want when somebody visits your website is getting them spending more time there and clicking around. And so for SEO or search engine optimization, here's 5 key metrics that can be positively influenced through merchandising your website. You get more users because you're a better resource for people. You get more sessions. People want to come back. Last time we also talked about the number of days it takes a consumer to buy a major consumer good, and that's 79 days. So that means, I'll just, I kind of want a Cannondale Topspin right now. So I'll use that as an example. But, I don't go just look at it once and then decide to buy it. I pull that up like almost every night so that I can, kind of have it fresh in my mind as I doze off daydreaming about my new bike. The more times you can get somebody back to your site, the better your site performs. Reducing bounce rate. Somebody comes to your homepage and it looks stale, they might bounce right back out. But if they see fresh content, they might dive in. A lower bounce rate helps with your results. And then duration, how much time and then how much clicking that they do. So this is what you're trying to do. Just back to the in-store example, you're trying to get customers to pick up products and interact with it. You know that when you're trying to sell something, if you can get the product into a customer's hands, they're more likely to buy it. It's the exact same thing on your website, and this is what you're trying to do. So then why does a customer care about merchandising? Well, they want to experience the variety of your selection. I talk to a lot of people, when I say that our company works exclusively with independent bike dealers, it's super common for somebody to apologize to me that they buy something online, or they just bought a Canyon. I don't want them to apologize for that, but I want people to realize that they can get so much at their local bike shop. A lot of consumers have become conditioned to think that bike shops have a scarce selection, which is true compared to the breadth of possible options out there. But your selection is bigger than they think, especially if you show it off. So don't wait for them to come in. Really put it out there and get people's excitement when they visit your store. Exploring new categories. You and your staff are uber bike nerds. I mean, you know what's coming out well in advance. The key influencers, you're following them on Instagram, you watch all the YouTube quick review videos when they first come out. You are on the cutting edge, but most of your customers are not. I mean, you have a few of them, but most people are super open to learning about these exciting new things from the bike shop. So don't forget about that disconnect that's between you and your staff and your potential customers. If there's something you're excited about, make sure it's on your website and you're helping customers see it. I think I have an example later here about bike packing. You've probably gone on trips. You know that it's a hot category, but how many customers haven't really explored it and started the fantasy engine going around what kind of bags can fit on the bike that they have? It helps customers learn about new products, which is really related to the category. So the categories is like bike packing or disc brake road bikes. A new product might be the new platform, like the Topstone. And then browsing promotions. So as much as we want to protect margins, as much as we don't want this industry or retail in general to be about discounts, currently there's a big driver of consumer demand around promotions. And you have periods of time when you want to be promoting. Right now in most parts of the country, you're starting to look at your bike prices. You want to try and move your aging inventory as quickly as possible. Pardon me. So you don't always have to be discounting, but there are times a year where you do. Well, you don't want to go to the trouble of discounting things and again only wait for customers to come in the door to see what you have on sale. You got to promote it, so merchandise that on your homepage as well. And so this is really just thinking about how the in-store shopping experience works. Half of the customers who walk through your door, they walk in, they turn to the right, and when one of your staff members asks them if you can help, they say, "No, thanks, I'm just looking around." That's what people want to do. They want to browse on their own. Well, so then how do you turn that browser into a buyer? You make it really easy for them to engage with your inventory, and that's exactly what we're talking about on your website. So we're going to talk about just two parts of your website. So this is the how-to section. So first on your homepage, so if you look at your Google Analytics, the majority of your traffic coming into your website is coming via your homepage. So imagine that as your door dinging. That's somebody walking through your front door. What do they see? And so we're going to look at, first some non-bike examples. And so here's what Home Depot is doing. And let's go back to the kind of why behind this. What's the business need and what's the consumer want? So Home Depot knows that this emerging category of smart home devices is a real growth opportunity for them. Consumers haven't selected what channel they're going to buy this product from, straight from Google, straight from Amazon, Best Buy, Home Depot, Target. They don't have a set preference on where do you buy these things. So Home Depot, they invest in the inventory. If you've been in one of their stores lately, they've got a prominent end cap with all these items displayed. And then on their website, they're going to put it front and center to take all that organic traffic that's coming in just looking to see Do they have that replacement saw blade that I need? Well, now they know, oh, hey, I've been wanting to get a Nest. Does Google have it? Or does, excuse me, does Home Depot have it? Same thing applies to you. E-bikes would be a great category here. Smart trainers is a great category. It's high demand. You've invested in inventory, but don't take for granted that people know you have it. Put it out there. Pull that person who walks through the virtual front door, pull them into that section and get them engaging with your products. Getting a little more into specialty. Back to school season is the second biggest shopping time of the year. So let's look at the business need and the consumer need. So the consumer need is easy. School starts in a couple of weeks. I need stuff. I need backpacks. I need apparel. I need shoes. And ideally, I want to go to a limited number of places and get those things. And ideally, I want to save some money. Look at the business case. Scheels knows that this is a big opportunity. They've invested heavily in backpacks. They're stacked to the gills with backpacks. It doesn't do them any good to put those things back in boxes and save them for next year. They want to sell them now. So that's where the promotion on the homepage lines up with consumer demand, and those two things meet, and they're able to take that homepage traffic and pull it into the section and start selling merchandise. And then looking at a bike shop, here's I've already established my preferences here, but same thing. Hot new bike is out, and so bike shop, they want to talk about it. You don't want to just. I think bike shops tend to think all customers know that I'm a Cannondale dealer. Like all the special rules of the bike industry and how only certain stores can sell certain products, and certain stores are bigger and they might get the new product faster. Customers don't know any of that, or the majority of them don't. Some of them do. Well, you want to make sure that process of discovery pulls people in. So this is one of our websites. We didn't do this work. I think the thing I would do differently is probably, instead of giving the specific models like the 650 Kingpin, those are, or I guess not models, those are features. I'd probably tell a little bit more of a story there. A full suspension gravel bike, like that would take an uninformed consumer and get them to raise an eyebrow and click the button. But this is super easy for you to do. So on Smart Etailing, many of you use it. How do you do this? So first, we've got a free content library. So we've got 20 people on our marketing team. Every quarter, they try to plan ahead and come up with what are the really relevant things for bike shops to want to promote. And then we put into the content library all of these free marketing materials that you can import into your site, add your own products, and publish it. So we make it really easy. We also have start and end date features. So if you only have 1 day a month that you can really sit at your computer and plan out your web merchandising plan, you can have something different every week, schedule it all, and you're done for the month. We have this cool feature that when you're adding a hyperlink to a section, you can convert that into a button. Buttons convert into clicks at about 30% more than a hyperlink does, so leverage that feature. You're really trying to, again, get the customer to pick up the product and engage with it. Embed catalog sections on your homepage. So that's what this little screenshot is. There's a drag and drop tool that you can use on your homepage to add a product carousel or a catalog carousel. And then you can get really granular with it. What categories, what brands, is it on sale? Is it a new arrival? We have all this data that can automate this. And so if you have something you want to show off, you don't have to worry about whether you forget to change your website when you sell that last 58 centimeter of a closeout bike. Our system automatically reads it, or reads your point of sale system and adjusts your website to match. And if you get in over your head on any of this stuff, we have a marketing team here that is able to help. So I want you to feel empowered to do all this on your own. The whole website is self-serve, but we've got a backstop for you if you don't have time or expertise. We want this to look and work well for you. So then once you get off the home page and into the landing page, a lot of the same principles apply. So here we're going to use just bike shop examples here. So this is a landing page. For the sake of fitting onto a slide, I've kind of cut the screenshot into two pieces. On the left is the upper portion, and on the right is the lower portion. And then I've circled just a couple of key components. So this is electric bikes. So that first area that's highlighted, it speaks to unique writer profiles. So again, this isn't just saying here's stuff. Think of it as your silent salesperson. Think of it as a really good pop-up banner in the store that helps people learn why would I want an electric bike. Next below that is that catalog carousel. So you can create that and automatically feed in the product that you have in stock. So once you have a customer's interest, they've clicked from your home page to this landing page, it's super easy for them to just click through to a product and start engaging and shopping. And if you don't think that bikes sell online locally, you're very wrong. We're selling a ton of bikes across the country right now. Of course, Smart Etailing is all about local bike shops, so they're all for in-store pickup. But people are buying bikes, and so don't be afraid to merchandise them. Now, that being said, the last thing I highlight is easy access to the store. So virtually every landing page that we build ends with a way that if somebody gets to the bottom of the page and they have a question, there's just a really easy way for the customer to click through to the Contact Us page to either email, call, or visit the store. Because that, of course, is your competitive advantage as a local bike shop, or one of them. From a very practical sense, you have name brand product closer to the consumer than web providers do. But the others, you've got local experts who know how to answer questions. Well, leverage that and get people clicking through and contacting your business. Another example here is this is more new product related. So this links to specific products. The brand new bikes are in our content library. The automations power whether you have it in stock or Specialized has it in stock. It highlights features. So when we think back to that homepage example around the Topstone, I would have talked about kind of the benefits of the features. So like smooth, quiet, and powerful. Says a little bit more than just like how many watts does this put out. And then again at the bottom, easy access to the store. If you want to schedule a test ride, click here for hours and directions. This sort of content is really easy to put together, and in this specific case, certain brands pay for this content. So Specialized pays us to build the product launch content, and then you can opt in to have it installed on your website for free. That's what happens here. But this is all built with our self-serve tools, so you can replicate this exact thing on your own as well. And then back to bike packing. So this is the first section there. Picking your first bike packing bike. So this is really being a nice, easy way to introduce a potential buyer into this category. That silent salesperson we mentioned earlier. How do you get your website working for you so that people coming into your store are more ready to buy? Breaking out by categories. So that hardtail mountain bikes, there's full suspension mountain bikes. I believe there's drop bar bikes on there, fat bikes. It's how do you start segmenting your selection down so that as the customer goes on their journey, they can start working their own way down a decision tree and finding the bike that's right for them. And then linking directly to products. It's just an important piece for us at Smart Etailing. And so doing a time check, we've got about 7 minutes left, which is good. And so this is, lastly, for landing pages, I want to talk about the kind of easy button. So these are just two examples of what we call catalog list view pages. So you're going to see this more and more. Even if you go to REI, I believe today they've got running shoes highlighted on their homepage. And if you click through to the running shoes, you're not going to go out to a beautifully designed landing page like I showed you in these previous examples. Instead, they're just going to pull you into the product category on their website. Use that. This is the fastest way to merchandise products. Get a nice graphic on your homepage. That's the equivalent of a display in your entryway. And then make that immediate click just into shopping and get customers engaged with product. It's not as good as storytelling as some of those other examples, but if you don't have time, this is fast and this is in line with other major retailers. So don't be shy about doing that. Time is a commodity for each of you, and especially during this time of year. Back to kind of landing page tips. We have that free content library that I talked about. So on the right, we We put seasonal promotions under sales and promotions. These are changing every single quarter, every single year. Broad categories like services, new products, holidays. We make it really easy for you. We do have suppliers that pay for content, like the Specialized we showed earlier. You can use that catalog builder tool we showed in the previous how-to to be really granular with what you show on your landing pages. Use filters. I'm going to go back one slide. All those filters on the side, if you want to show in-stock giant bikes, under $1,000, you can click whatever filters you want to use, and then you can grab the URL that appears up in your web browser and link to that from your homepage, and it gives a really refined selection for your customers. I like to always link to location pages for help. And again, if you get in over your head or you just have a question, our marketing team is here to help. Or if you know you want to do it yourself, our support team is also there to help you as well. So that's all. I'm right on time, which is shocking. If there are any questions, I'd love to take them, and then I'll give you a couple of ideas for the fall.
We've got one question that says, how important are reviews for each product? Any tips to help build up reviews for products?
Yes, so I love reviews. Marketing nerd speak, as it's called, user-generated content, and it's very important. So products that have reviews have a higher conversion rate. Our system is integrated with a company called Power Reviews. Power Reviews also connects to name brands like Giant, Specialized, Trek, Saris. There's a whole host of others. And the reviews are syndicated from those brands. So if a product is reviewed on one of those brands, it publishes to the Smart Detailing platform. So that helps you build up review content without having to generate it on your own. Eventually, we will have, as a part of our email automations with orders, solicitation of reviews. But until that's in place, you can do it on your own. You can ask at the register. If you have time when you get home, if you could go online and review your purchase, I'd greatly appreciate it. If your order volume is relatively low, then once a week you can send off some thank you emails to people who bought from you online, and you can include a direct link to where they can review the product that they bought. So I would do your best to grow those reviews up, and then whenever possible, leverage automations so that you don't have to be responsible for all of them. All right. Well, on the last slide, I'm going to have my email address. I'm always accessible via email, phone, LinkedIn. So if you have questions after this, you can feel free to reach out to me personally. But for this fall, just here's a couple of quick ideas that you can implement on your website. So remember, the new 2020 bike platforms are coming out. That's not just an operational or logistics challenge for you. That's an opportunity for you to market. So if you've got new bikes arriving, and not just the new colors, but if it's a new platform or an upgrade, boy, scream that from the rooftops and get customers in interacting with that product. End of season deals on bikes. If you're lucky enough to be in a market that has 12 months worth of selling, great. But a lot of you are in a seasonal market. Your bike inventory is never going to be as valuable as it is today. So if you're going to mark it down, or your first round of markdowns, market it heavily on your homepage and try to move as much of it as possible. If you are on Smart Detailing, try to leverage automations. You can market discounted product in stock at supplier warehouses, so you can get the cash in the door without ever having to invest in the inventory. Fall apparel, we talked about that earlier. Have a plan to market and move it as soon as it hits your shelves. Ride safe. Safety is massive right now, so get that onto your website to make sure consumers know that you have a great selection and they can come in and test it. And then upgrade. I think we always want customers upgrading, but do we talk about it enough? Obviously, mountain bike technology has advanced so much. Chances are, if somebody's got a 3-year-old mountain bike, it's already out of date. Encourage them to upgrade. If you take trade-ins, promote those trade-ins. Don't just let that be a utility in your store. Really make that service work for you. And then here's my email address. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. But I think that's all I have for today.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, good. Enjoy your week, everybody. Find me if you need anything.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. And if you need to watch the recording later, it'll be on the dealer forum. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.